Please, I can't walk. The words fell from her trembling lips like shards of glass. The rain poured over her expensive suit, her heels broken, and her body shaking not just from the cold but from defeat. People passed her by, their umbrellas shielding them from the storm but not from compassion. Only one man stopped, a single dad, soaked to the bone, his little girl clinging to his hand. He looked at the woman, not as a CEO or some powerful figure he'd seen on magazine covers, but as a human being, hurt, frightened, and alone. That moment, that single act of stopping, would change both of their lives forever. He didn't know who she was. He only saw someone in need. Hey, are you okay? He asked softly, crouching beside her. She winced as she tried to move her leg. I can't, please, I can't walk, she whispered. Without another word, he lifted her gently, ignoring the weight of the rain and the curious eyes around them. His daughter looked up at him, her small voice trembling. Daddy, is she gonna be okay? He gave a half smile. Yeah, sweetheart. We'll make sure she's okay. That's how their worlds collided, one built on corporate glass towers, the other on survival and quiet love in a small rented apartment. He carried her to his old pickup truck, helped her inside carefully, and drove through the storm. She tried to protest, saying she could call someone, but her phone was dead. He just said, "Don't worry. You can rest for now." She wanted to tell him who she was, the youngest female CEO of one of the biggest tech firms in the city. But she stayed quiet. Somehow, she didn't want to be that person right now. When they reached his home, it was humble, small, slightly messy, but warm. His daughter ran inside first, grabbing a towel for their guest. The woman sat there, silent, overwhelmed by the kindness she didn't expect. He made her tea, checked her ankle gently, and said, "It's not broken, just sprained. You'll be fine in a few days." His hands were rough from years of labor, yet his touch was careful, respectful. She watched him, wondering why someone who had so little could still give so much. He lived with almost nothing, barely managing to raise his daughter, but there was peace in his home, laughter, and sincerity. Something she hadn't felt in years. As the night grew quiet, he helped her settle in the small couch. She finally spoke, softly, "Why did you stop? You didn't even know me." He smiled faintly. You don't need to know someone to help them. Sometimes you just see pain and you move. That night, she couldn't sleep. Her mind kept returning to that sentence. In her world, everything was about gain, profits, deals, and competition. But in his, it was about people, heart, and decency. Over the next few days, as her leg healed, she found herself drawn to the rhythm of his home. The way he packed lunch for his daughter, made silly jokes, and still found time to ask, "You okay today?" She noticed how hard he worked, fixing old appliances to earn extra cash, and yet never complained. He reminded her of something she had long forgotten: humanity. When her driver finally found her after days of searching, she was hesitant to leave. She thanked him, saying she'd never forget what he did. He simply said, "Just take care of yourself. The world needs kind people, even in offices like yours." She smiled weakly, not realizing he knew exactly who she was. He'd recognized her the second night from a news article his daughter showed him. But he never said anything. He wanted her to feel safe, not judged. Weeks passed. Life returned to its pace. But something inside her had shifted. Meetings felt empty. Success felt hollow. So, one evening, she made a decision. She tracked him down, not hard, since his daughter's school was near her new foundation's office. When he opened the door, she stood there, not in designer clothes, but in jeans and a simple white shirt, holding an envelope. "You once told me the world needs kind people," she said softly. "I want to start something that does exactly that. But I can't do it alone." Inside the envelope was a job offer, an opportunity to lead a new outreach initiative to help single parents rebuild their lives. His eyes widened, not from greed, but from disbelief. "Why me?" he asked. She smiled, eyes glistening. "Because you reminded me who I wanted to be." From that day on, they worked together, two people from opposite worlds, now united by compassion. His daughter would often run through the office halls, laughter echoing between glass walls that once symbolized isolation. The CEO who once felt untouchable now found her peace in the simple things: a coffee shared, a laugh, a thank you. Months later, during a press event, a reporter asked her, What inspired you to change direction? She looked at the man standing quietly in the back, then smiled and said, "Sometimes, the person who saves you isn't wearing a suit, they're just someone who cared enough to stop." The crowd applauded, but she wasn't thinking about the cameras or headlines. Her eyes met his for a moment, a silent acknowledgement that kindness, not power, had rewritten both of their stories, and as they walked out together that evening, her words from that rainy night echoed softly between them, not as a plea anymore, but as a memory of transformation. "Please, I can't walk," had turned into something far greater, because now, she could stand tall, on her own, and beside the man who taught her what strength really meant.